দেরি হয়ে গেল যাই হোক let us start our class. So in my last class on Latin influence on the English language, we had just looked into these slides that it is the earliest influence on the English language. Latin loanwords entered the English language in different phases. Four different phrases are there: the pre-Christian, which is called by Professor A.C. Baugh as the zero period. Then comes the Christian phase, when Christianity came to England. And after that, the third phase, which was Middle English phase, and lastly, the Renaissance and the post-Renaissance phase. So these are the four phases which we need to look at. We have already considered these phases. I told you about some of these words which you saw. Now let us come to the next slide. Some of the next slides. This is period 3, the conversion, which you know about this because we did this in our last class. Next, let us start from this period 4, the Renaissance, and 1385 to end of the 16th century. So these are the words. So what is the Renaissance? I told you it means rebirth and a kind of renewal. So renewal of the study of classical texts. Uh, so the English word actually comes from the Latin or Greek word which was taken and it was translated. So এই যে লিস্টটা এই লিস্টটা দেখো তোমরা এটা কি আগে তোমাদের আমি দেখিয়েছিলাম লাস্ট ক্লাসে? ডিড আই শো ইউ নাকি দেখোনি এটা?
না স্যার এটা দেখ না স্যার
আচ্ছা এটা তাহলে লেট আস স্টার্ট উইথ দিস লিস্ট। এখানে দেখো ইউ উইল নোটিস দ্যাট দেয়ার আর টু কলামস। এখানে দেখো English, Latin or Greek. So the Latin or Greek word actually came from, of course, the Latin or the Greek language, and it was translated into English. So the Latin word is frigid, while in English it is translated as cold. Descend, it is come down, or coming down. Ascend, to go up. Approach, to come near. So the English words, as you can see, they are much simpler, but the Latin or words of Latin origin, they are a little more complex. The spelling also, as you can see. Next, let us pay our attention to this portion. In some cases, the native nouns did not have any corresponding adjectives which were borrowed from Latin, with the effect that while the nouns remain native English, the adjectives were Latin. So এখানে কি বলছে যে যে নেটিভ যে নাউন গুলো ছিল, নেটিভ বলতে এখানে ইংলিশ, ওল্ড ইংলিশ, অ্যাংলো স্যাক্সন যেগুলো নেটিভ নাউন গুলো ছিল, সেগুলোর কিন্তু করেসপন্ডিং অ্যাডজেক্টিভস গুলো ছিল না ল্যাটিনে। যেগুলো বড় করা হয়েছিল ল্যাটিন থেকে, সেখানে তারা করেসপন্ডিং অ্যাডজেক্টিভ গুলো পায়নি। সুতরাং ব্যাপারটা কি দাঁড়ালো যে নাউনস রিমেন নেটিভ ইংলিশ, নাউনগুলো নেটিভ ইংলিশ রয়ে গেল, কিন্তু এই অ্যাডজেক্টিভ গুলো সেগুলো কিন্তু আমরা যেগুলো দেখছি, দিজ আর অল ল্যাটিন ওয়ার্ডস। সো এখানে এই ব্যাপারটা ঘটলো। এখানে দেখো মাউথ, দ্যাট ইজ এ কমন ইনাফ English word, but the adjective form is oral. So oral transmission or oral composition যেটা আমরা জানি, so oral examination, so it means by mouth word. Eye is ocular, so anything relating to the eye, it is ocular. Mind, mental, so this is a common enough word, it is now we use these words in our everyday language. This word, son, filial, so father, paternal, mother, maternal. So son, that kind of the filial relationship, or paternal. So your paternal uncle or paternal aunt. So an uncle or aunt who is related to your father on your father's side, or your maternal grandfather. So like that. So mother, the adjective is maternal. From father, it becomes paternal. Sun is solar, solar energy. So moon, lunar, lunar eclipse. So like that. So these adjectives, as you can see, they are from Latin origin, but the nouns are common enough English words. Dog. So this is a common animal. It the adjective would be canine, canine, relating to dogs. Uh, from cats, it would be feline, feline. Seeing is visual, so visual. So we are having a visual auditory presentation here. So you can see, and also you can listen to me. You can listen to my voice, and you can see the PowerPoint presentation also. So it is a audio visual, audio. That is hearing. From that, the adjective is audio. So now let us just a moment. No, so yes, the next slide. Let us move on to the next slide. So as you can see, this is continuing spring, the season of spring. The adjective form is vernal. Vernal is spring. Then comes wood. Wood is sylvan. Sylvan. Just notice that these adjectives are all of Latin origin, and they are not used so much in the English language. So as you can see, uh, perhaps in you will find them in poetry or in fiction, so not in everyday use. So we do not say that during the vernal time I went there, or I went into the sylvan neighborhood, like that. Nothing like the head. It becomes capital. So book, literary, literary composition. Home, domestic. So domestic animals. This is of course it is being used. Domestic animals like cats, dogs, like that. Cat. I was telling you. So dog is canine, and cat is feline. So the feline species. So it uh, means the cat species, the big cats also, lions, tigers, like that, leopards. So the feline species would include all these. So this is one way in which the Anglo-Saxons, they borrowed the Latin adjectives, but they had the nouns in their own language, that is English, but they uh, did not have the corresponding adjectives, which remained Latin. Now, after this happened during the Renaissance, so uh, during a time uh, when we see the study of the classical works, a new revival of the classical works. So now let us consider the next portion of this slide. As you can well understand, that there are uh, many other such words. I have not given you so many. There are a lot of words, but I have not given you a lot. Just a few words which are familiar to you, which would be familiar to you. So after the Renaissance, what happened? English language was enriched at three levels, that is, in three ways. Firstly, simple, and homely words of native English origin, abstract and elegant words of French origin, sonorous and ornamental words of Latin origin. So, in these three ways, the English language came to be uh, sort of enriched. And the native English words obviously were simple and homely, as you can see: wood, head, book, home, cat, dog, like that. But when we will be reading, we'll be studying the French influence, we will see that actually the French, they are very fashionable. Even today, Paris, the capital of France, is looked upon as a fashionable capital of the world, fashion capital of the world. So they are very elegant, always in their dress, in their manners, in their food, in their kind of general behavior. So the French people are like that, and uh, a kind of elegant elegance is associated with all things French. French perfume, for example. So, abstract and elegant words of French origin were of French origin, which we will be studying later on. Sonorous and ornamental words of Latin origin. Sonorous means high sounding, serious sounding words which have a serious sound. So, big words. For example, these words, you will find bigger words later on. So, ornamental, they're kind of decorative, uh, which decorate or kind of function as ornaments, just as people wear ornaments to decorate themselves. So, a language would sort of have these decorations also, which were the words of Latin origin. So, the three types of words belong to three distinct classes of English society. So, we will see how these three types of words, from that is simple English words, words of French origin which were quite elegant, and Latin words of Latin origin which were kind of ornamental in nature, they were used by three different classes of English society. So, English words for the common uneducated mass, French words for the nobility, and Latin for the scholars. So, who used the common homely words? The common people. They were mostly uneducated, uh, mostly from the labor class, or people were not so well educated, they could not understand these words of Latin origin. So, they used their own simple words. The French words were used by the nobility. When the Norman conquest took place, William the Conqueror, as you know, he became the ruler of England, and along with him, a number of French uh, nobles who belonged to the French aristocracy. They arrived in England, and they arrived in England, and they, of course, uh, they brought with them different sort of a different culture, French fashion, French food, everything different. And so the French words which arrived along with them were used by the nobility, and Latin for the scholars. So the monks, the scholars who were studying, the students, the scholars, and the monks especially, who were engaged in sort of copying work, copying poems, prose pieces, like that. So obviously they were engaged in translation as well, অনুবাদের কাজ, যেটা ল্যাটিন থেকে বিভিন্ন ধরনের যে রিভাইভাল যেটা হচ্ছে, রেনেসন্সের সময় আমরা কি দেখলাম, যে নতুন করে আবার গ্রিক এবং ল্যাটিন যে ওয়ার্কগুলো আছে Greek এবং ancient Greek and ancient Roman writers, their works were being studied anew, নতুন করে আবার পড়াশোনা শুরু হলো এবং সেগুলোকে ট্রান্সলেশনের একটা ব্যাপার হচ্ছে, ইংলিশে ট্রান্সলেট করছে। সুতরাং সেই কাজটা যারা করছেন, অবভিয়াসলি দে হ্যাড টু নো দ্য ল্যাটিন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, তাহলে তো করতে পারবেন না। সুতরাং অবভিয়াসলি সাধারণ মানুষ তো আর ল্যাটিন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ জানে না, আহ, এবং সেই কারণে দিজ scholars, these monks who lived in the monasteries, who were religious people, so they actually use the Latin words. তাহলে এখানে দেখো, there are three columns. এখানে দেখো প্রথমে ইংলিশ, ফ্রেঞ্চ, ল্যাটিন। এইবারে দেখো একটা জিনিস দেখো, যেটা বলা হয়েছিল যে as you proceed, the English word is very simple. It is a common word of everyday use. আমরা রোজই এরকম ওয়ার্ড ইউজ করি। ফ্রেঞ্চটা আরেকটুখানি কমপ্লিকেটেড, বাট স্টিল উই সামটাইমস ইউজ ইট। তারপরে ল্যাটিনটা, এটা আমরা সাধারণত only we use it in our writing. We generally do not use these words of Latin origin in our everyday speech when we are talking. When we are talking with our friends, we are talking with our relatives, with our someone we know. So obviously we do not use big words. Some people do, perhaps, uh, in conferences or anything like that, seminars, but it is not the general practice. So if you look at this, you will see the first word I have chosen is ask. Ask is, of course, everyone knows the meaning. French is question. So that is, of course, a common enough word. We are using everything all the time, this word. Question papers, for example. Latin is interrogate. So interrogate means to ask questions. But this word, as you can see, it is a much more complex word. So it does not have the simple spelling of ask or question, but uh, it is a bigger and more complex word. Similarly, rise, mount, ascend. So, like this, goodness, virtue, probity. So, these like this it goes on. So the this word would be used. These words would be used by the simple, ordinary folk. These would be used by the nobility, people, noblemen and women, aristocratic of aristocratic birth, and these would be used by the Latin scribes, the Latin scholars, the monks, who were well versed, who knew the Latin language. So fire is flame. In French, it can be denoted as flame. Conflagration. So this word is also a big word which is used. It means fire. So like this, we will move on to the next slide. Holy, sacred, consecrated. So as you see, this word is a much more complicated, bigger word. Consecrated means holy, something that is holy in nature. Fear, fear, terror, trepidation. So here, of course, in our everyday speech, uh, we do not use this word trepidation. We use it in this word. I felt very fearful. So, or in fiction, you will find this word terror, the use of this word. Trepidation is, of course, a bigger word which might occur in certain novels, old novels like that, but not generally. It's not used. Then manly, male. So this is a common enough word. Masculine, womanly, female, feminine. So, of course, these are familiar to us. These are used. Some words are used, but generally, many words are not used like this, as you see these words. Wish, desire, volition. So, of my own volition, I went there. So my own wish, I went there. So we do not speak like this. We say that it was my wish. I went there out of my own wish. So it was my desire to go there or to buy that uh, book. So like that. So volition, this particular word is not used in everyday speech. So as you can see, this trend, uh, uh, these words are uh, examples of how three classes of people came to use these words. So I think you have got the hang of it আর কি বুঝেছো মোটামুটি এখানে কিভাবে আসছে তিন রকমের ওয়ার্ড আরো কিছু বেশ আছে আহ, অতটা আর বেশি রকম দিইনি যেমন ফাস্ট FAST ফাস্ট ইংলিশের ক্ষেত্রে ফার্ম FIRM for French, secure for Latin, then time for English, AGE for French, and epoch, EPOCH, which means an age, an epoch. So now let us move on to the next portion. Uh, Now we will find how new hybrid words coined with Latin elements became innumerable after the Renaissance. So what happened after this revival of learning, revival of ancient uh, classical texts, there came a number of uh, words of Latin origin which sort of combined with the native words, with either the native prefix or the native suffix. Now, and they became, after this mixture or combination, they became new words. দু রকমের মিক্সচারের পরে একটা নতুন ওয়ার্ডের সৃষ্টি হচ্ছে. Both Latin root words and affixes are utilized to form new English words. So root words, the root word is Latin, যেটা মূল শব্দটা. Affix মানে হচ্ছে something uh, that is written or that comes before the main word. So a little portion. যেমন এখানে দেখবে আচ্ছা এখানে একটুখানি বলে নিই the variety of hybrid words from Latin elements are passed in number the hybrid words form the French elements. So the French words which came later along with the French influence, the French or the Norman conquest, we can say that actually they were lesser in number. So hybrids with Latin root words. Just look at this. These are, we have two columns here. So UN, this small hyphen is there, plus Latin word popular. So uh, what is the word then? Unpopular. So un plus popular. Un is this affix which comes before, which is native in origin. এটা English, কিন্তু this comes from Latin. দুটোকে মিলিয়ে কিন্তু একটা নতুন ওয়ার্ড সৃষ্টি হচ্ছে, unpopular. Again un plus necessary, unnecessary. Clerk plus ship. এখানে আবার উল্টোটা হচ্ছে, ছোট একটা রুট যেটা আছে পরে বসছে, clerkship. Priest plus ly, priestly, like a priest. Quiet plus ness, quietness. Polite plus ness, politeness. Priest plus hood, priesthood. Monk plus hood, monkhood. So the state of being a priest or the state of being a monk. So like that. So these words are hybrid words which have sort of, actually we'll find that they have either native affixes or later Latin root words. So like this it continues. Next slide, we'll go to the next slide. Latin affixes are more extensively used with Latin words than the French words. Latin and native means English here. X plus king, ex king, so a former king. Uh, he is not the present king, but the former king. Anti-German. Anti means against. In Latin, it means against. So anti-German, someone who is against Germans. Co plus worker, co-worker. So your colleague. Uh, co means together. De plus frost. Defrost. De means without in Latin, this particular affix. Uh, Re plus birth, rebirth, to be born again. Re plus build, rebuild, to build again. So like this, then the order is reversed. Native, this is the native portion where the Latin root is added to it. So what do we find here? Starve plus ation, Asian, equal to starvation. So this is a new word, starvation, which actually, so the combination is like this. It goes on like this. Uh, and again, you will see, for example, here, guitar plus ist, guitarist, someone who plays the guitar. So a person who plays the guitar. Talk plus ative, A-T-I-V-E, talkative, someone who talks too much. Hindu plus ISM equal to Hinduism. So the this is combined. Islam plus IC, Islamic. India plus AN, Indian, like this. So these actually, as you can see, the native form is there. Sometimes it is a kind of an affix, Latin, which the Latin comes first and the native follows, and the combination is a new word. Here, the order is reversed. The native portion comes first, along with the word or the root, which is of Latin origin. So these things are, of course, which happened after the Renaissance, and the Latin words, the different, a number of Latin words which came into the English language. So there are a number of words which we can just go on with this. For example, Shakespeare plus IAN, Shakespearean. So uh, Africa plus AN, African, like India, African. So like this. Now I hope you have been able to understand this. বুঝতে পেরেছো এগুলো কিভাবে আসছে। সুতরাং নতুন ওয়ার্ডের সৃষ্টি হচ্ছে, এইভাবে যোগ করে করে নতুন ওয়ার্ডের সৃষ্টি হচ্ছে। এইবারে নেক্সট স্লাইডে যাব। এখানে দেখো, the English language is more enriched with hybrids in which the different parts are from different languages. এবারে একটা ব্যাপার ঘটছে এখানে, ইংলিশ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে এই যে হাইব্রিড ওয়ার্ড, আগেরগুলো তোমরা দেখলে যে হাইব্রিড হয়েছে, কিছু ওয়ার্ড, there are some words which are formed by taking different portions from two languages or perhaps even three languages. দেখো, the free use of French and Latin words and Latin affixes in English have originated such words as, এখানে ফ্রেঞ্চ এবং ল্যাটিন ওয়ার্ডস এবং ল্যাটিন অ্যাফিক্স সব যোগ হয়েছে ইংলিশের সঙ্গে, এবং তার ফলে কিছু কিছু ওয়ার্ডের সৃষ্টি হয়েছে। যেমন এখানে দেখো, day, this is, as I told you, a small Latin word which means without. So L stands for Latin, plus human, which comes from French, plus IZD, this is a Latin affix, L, this is from Latin. So dehumanize. So three portions have combined to form this particular word, dehumanize. Now let us look at this word. Inter, Latin, comes from Latin, plus nation, French, plus al, l, plus ism, internationalism. So you can see four portions are there in this particular word. Other such parallel examples are deforestation, denationalize, colonization, mobilization, like this. So you can find such words. And there are other words also, for example, interstate, then hospitalize, antisocial, coordinator, postmodernism, such words are there. So this is what is happening. A hybrid word is forming, but because of the combination of parts from different languages. So here Latin and French combine. Scientific terms. So we now come towards the end of our slide, our presentation rather. So now let us move on to the scientific terms. They occupy an important place in the enrichment of English vocabulary. And this enrichment started taking place from the 18th century, uh, much later, as you can see, along with the development of material science all over Europe. So, along with the advancement of science, these scientific terms they started to come in. The word scientist entered English along with physicist. Uh, these are all Greek and Latin of Latin origin. Innumerable and full of possibility were used with new connotations by the additions of new suffixes and prefixes. সুতরাং এই সায়েন্টিস্ট শব্দটা ফিজিসিস্টের সঙ্গে এগুলো গ্রিক এবং ল্যাটিন অরিজিনের আর কি সেগুলো এলো সুতরাং সায়েন্স ল্যাটিনে অ্যাকচুয়ালি সায়েন্স মানে হচ্ছে নলেজ ইট মিনস নলেজ সো সায়েন্টিস্ট the word scientist would mean a specialized channel of knowledge, a person who specializes in a special branch of knowledge. So that would be a scientist. এবং এগুলো তোমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছ এরকম ভাবে হচ্ছে and new suffixes and prefixes হচ্ছে দেখো এখানে tele is a Greek actually prefix which comes before a word which means far plus gram equal to telegram. So Latin এর সঙ্গে যোগ করে telegram এরকম ভাবে telepathy, telecast, telecommunication. So like this these words are formed. আবার এখানে দেখো সোশিও ল্যাটিন প্লাস লজি গ্রিকে লোগস লজিটা থেকে আসছে লোগস মিনিং অ্যান অ্যাকাউন্ট so it becomes sociology, so the subject of sociology or anthropology, so like that biology, ecology, study of life around us, ecology study of the environment, theology study of religion, religious doctrine, so like the anthropology study of man, human beings. So anthro meaning human beings, like that. So all these are of different Latin or Greek origin. Then come certain words which they are carnivorous, herbivorous, omnivorous. These are all from Latin. Vorous meaning eater. So carnivorous means flesh eater. Animals which eat flesh. Herbivorous means from which the word herb comes. Herbivorous, which eats plants. Omnivorous, omni actually means both. So some animals like bear, which eats both flesh and fruits. So human beings, we are also omnivorous. So we eat everything. So like that. Geometry, from Greek metria, measure. Thermometer, barometer. So disinfect, discolor, disfigure, Latin dis meaning without. So uh, taking out the infection or the color is gone, so discolored. the cloth is discolored, disfigured, something uh, has been discolored or disfigured. So like that, these new words come in. So Latin influence has been very phenomenal in a way in which it has uh, given rise to so many important words in the field of science also, as you can see. So I'll just move on to the last portion of this Latin influence. Uh, for example, in case of scientific technology, Latin is both a help and a hindrance. একটা সুবিধাও হচ্ছে আবার একটু অসুবিধাও হচ্ছে, as Latin terms are too big, too high sounding in comparison with the short English words. সুবিধাটা হচ্ছে নতুন নতুন ওয়ার্ড সৃষ্টি করা যাচ্ছে সহজে, নিউ ওয়ার্ডস ক্যান বি ক্রিয়েটেড উইথ ইজ। আর অসুবিধাটা কোথায় হচ্ছে, এই ল্যাটিন ওয়ার্ডগুলো বড় বড় কমপ্লেক্স, এগুলোকে মনে রাখাও অসুবিধে আর উচ্চারণ করাও অসুবিধে। তো ইংলিশ ওয়ার্ডস আর মাচ শর্টার and they can be remembered easily. সুতরাং সুবিধা অসুবিধা দুটোই আছে। In the Middle English period, many loan words of French origin had anglicized French spelling. মিডল ইংলিশ পিরিয়ডে কি ছিল, বিভিন্ন ধরনের লোন ওয়ার্ডস যেগুলো ফ্রেঞ্চ অরিজিন সেইগুলো অ্যাংলিসাইজ করে নিয়েছিল ইংরেজরা, ওরা ওদের মতো করে উচ্চারণটা করে নিয়েছিল। ফ্রেঞ্চ স্পেলিংটা রয়ে গেছে, সেটাকে রেখে দিয়েছে, কিন্তু তার উচ্চারণটাকে ইংলিশ উচ্চারণ। ফ্রেঞ্চদের স্পেলিং মানে উচ্চারণ তো একটু ডিফারেন্ট অবভিয়াসলি, ইভিল they have a soft kind of a pronunciation. English is a hard language, as we say English is a masculine language. The French is not like that. It is more of a feminine kind of a soft language. So এখানে দেখো মিডল ইংলিশ তার সঙ্গে ফ্রেঞ্চ মাঝখানে রয়েছে মডার্ন স্পেলিং রিমডেলড আফটার ল্যাটিন। সো এখানে কি আছে, প্রথম ওয়ার্ডটা যেটা মিডল ইংলিশে ছিল পারফেক্ট, PERFET, পারফেক্ট, এটা ফ্রেঞ্চে ওখানে হয় পারফেক্ট, পারফেক্ট। সো অ্যাকচুয়ালি দিস ইজ মডার্ন স্পেলিং। আমরা কি, এটা ল্যাটিন থেকে ইনফ্লুয়েন্সের ফলে পারফেক্টুস যে ওয়ার্ডটা, it means perfect in Latin. So we have sort of inserted this C here, perfect. এগুলো এখানে কিন্তু কোনো C নেই, there is no C here, either in Middle English or in the French version. কিন্তু ওয়ার্ডটাকে আমরা রেখে দিয়েছি খানিকটা, মানে স্পেলিংটা মোটামুটি রেখেছি, একটুখানি পাল্টে নিয়ে স্পেলিংটা রয়েছে, কিন্তু প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশন একটু অন্যরকম আর কি, ল্যাটিন অরিজিনালের ফলে। যাই হোক, যেমন ধরো অ্যাভিস, এর দুটোর স্পেলিং ছিল মিডল ইংলিশ, অ্যাভিস ইন ফ্রেঞ্চ অলসো, অ্যাডভাইস, অ্যাডভিজুম ইন ল্যাটিন। সো অ্যাডভাইস, এখানে ডিটা ঢুকেছে, দিস ডি কামস ইন, দ্য লেটার ডি, বিকজ অফ দিস ল্যাটিন ইনফ্লুয়েন্স। অ্যাভেঞ্চার, same word, adventure, adventure, adventurous, so like that. Verdict, verdict again, verdict. So verus means truth, dictum, dictum, it means saying. So here this C comes in from dictum, the C is inserted here. Dette, again the word from of French origin was dette, debt, debitum means debt in Latin. So this B is introduced here. The B was not there originally in either Middle English or in the French version. Doute, doute, doubt. So dubitus, it means a doubt in Latin. So all these occurred, এগুলো কেন হলো, এগুলো ল্যাটিন ইনফ্লুয়েন্স, যখন মডার্ন স্পেলিংটা রিমডেল করা হলো ল্যাটিন ইনফ্লুয়েন্সের ফলে, সেই জন্য এগুলো কিন্তু এইভাবে remodeling এর ফলে, after the remodeling, this the spelling, so as we can see anglicized French spelling in the কিন্তু রেনেসাঁসে তারা রিমডেলড হয়ে গেল ল্যাটিন অরিজিনালের জন্য। এইভাবে আমরা দেখছি আফটার দ্য রেনেসন্স দ্য ইংলিশ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ borrowed excessively from the rich vocabulary of Greek and Latin. So the long, sonorous, and polysyllabic classical words disturb the homogeneity of English monosyllabic words. So আমরা প্রথমে কি দেখেছিলাম যে ইংলিশ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজের ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্স এর মধ্যে one of the characteristics was monosyllabism, মানে শর্ট সিম্পল ওয়ার্ডস। কিন্তু সেটার ডিস্টারবেন্স হলো কি কারণে, যখন এই বড় বড় পলিসিলেবিক, পলি মানে মেনি, পলিসিলেবিক ওয়ার্ডস উইচ হ্যাড 3 syllables, that is ট্রাইসিলেবিক, টেট্রাসিলেবিক, চারটি সিলেবেল, সেরকম ভাবে সেগুলো এসে গেল বিকজ অফ দ্য ল্যাটিন ইনফ্লুয়েন্স। এবং এবং যেটা কি ঘটলো দেখো, তার ফলে এই ক্লাসিক্যাল ওয়ার্ডস অফ ক্লাসিক্যাল অরিজিন ল্যাটিন, সো হোমোজিনিটি, তার হোমোজিনিটি মানে কি, একটা যে ইউনিফর্ম ক্যারেক্টার, একটা যেটাকে আমরা বলতে পারি একটা সমান যে ক্যারেক্টার ছিল কোনো রকম পরিবর্তন ছাড়া, সেটা তার মধ্যে অনেক কিছু পরিবর্তন এসে গেল। So here, uh, this is the Latin influence.